Recently, a national announced that they want to bring out a digital driver's license, and according to what I can see on NZTA, or New Zealand Transport Agency, it's going to come out in mid 2026. Thankfully, from what I can see on Twitter, this has mostly received negative responses because people are not falling for the bullshit. And I commented in response to National's post myself. The reality of this digital driver's license, which supposedly the introduction of this digital driver's license is going to be for convenience sake, because apparently wallets don't exist. Apparently everyone everywhere all the time in New Zealand are just losing their driver's licenses. And they're just falling out of their pockets, or they're not putting them in secret places, or no one has a wallet anymore. Or even like a little sleeve in their phone to put them in. Now we apparently all need to have this digital version that's going to be available on our phones. This also comes a few months after National announced they want to introduce a social media ban for under 16s. And that of course also has been met with negative responses, thank God. And naturally they are hiding behind protecting children in order to bring that in. We've got one that's for convenience and one that's for protecting children. Problem is that neither of them will do that. Now, for anyone that's been paying attention, the social media ban one is pretty easy to destroy. It's so blatantly a case of controlling New Zealanders. It is not going to be used to protect anyone. Already in places like Australia and the UK, people are being banned for having the wrong opinion online. Now, I don't entirely know if the UK has this sort of thing in place for themselves, but in Australia they have a social media ban for under 16s, and they have admitted that it's not being used for that. They've just straight up admitted it. So naturally, when I hear that sort of thing's going to be brought into New Zealand, my mind immediately goes, they want to control us. Same thing applies with the digital driver's license. Now, the theory behind that is that the government that controls us wants to be able to keep us contained to 15-minute cities. I admittedly don't know very much about that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's true. Regardless, the entire basis for that argument falls apart when you realise you can just put your driver's license in your wallet. Now, tell me how many people go out of their home and they go out to do something and then take their wallet with them. Or in this case with the phone, which is of course how you're going to have the digital license on you, you can just keep it on there. You can just keep it in a little sleeve or something. There's no reason for this to be brought in other than the fact that the government wants to have control over what people can do. And in case of the social media ban, they want to have control over what people say online. Naturally, in either case, the government would need some form of digital ID for you to be registered on, so that way they can track you and keep an eye on you. Assuming for a second that this is just purely used for what they have been stated to be used for. In the social media ban, they would simply be using it to determine whether or not you are 16 or under, and simply allow you to go on the internet if you are over that age. If under, they just go, no, sorry, you're too young, you can't go on, this is too dangerous for you. And I'm not going to argue the fact that social media is awful for kids. It is terrible for adults as well. Doom scrolling on Twitter, or just scrolling relentlessly on TikTok, or just spending all your time on your phone on the internet is just not good for you. In the case of the driver's license, of course, your car and all that would be linked to your ID, and they'd be able to tell where you're going in your car. They'd be able to tell how far you go, where you drive to and from, etc, etc, etc. At least that's how I imagine how it will work. And maybe this just be able to track you, so that way you're paying a certain amount for how far you go, rather than paying the tax you pay at the pump. Even if right now these were utilised under the scope that they are going to be set out to be used in, what's preventing a future tyrannical government coming in and just ignoring that and deciding that they want to overtly just have control over people's lives? That is where the problem lies. Regardless of whether or not this is done with good intent, eventually somewhere down the line, someone with purely evil content is going to use it to control the masses, or they're going to use it to control people. That is reality. It's already been done in Australia. It's already been done in the UK with their social media stuff. More specifically of Australia, UK, I think they just do it in general. Same thing applies for your car. Like, they can just say, no, we're going to come take your car off you. We don't like you traveling so far, or we don't like your opinion online, so we're not going to allow you to go to work. Like, it's just another way to control people. That's what it is. Now, recently I found an image on X of a digital driver's license from over in Utah. This is based back in 2022. Now, amongst having rego and WAF and taxes and travel records, which is no doubt what this is going to be under the scope of here in New Zealand, it also had a bunch of other things. Health records, vaccine records, social credit scoring. Once again, what is preventing not only the government, national, again, what is preventing current and future governments from just saying, we don't like how you are one way or the other, and we're just going to decide that you can't go anywhere? Or you didn't get the recent COVID vaccination? Well, we're just going to pull a Jacinda Ardern and decide that you are a second-tier citizen. Or you had the wrong opinion online? We're just going to decide you can't go anywhere. and we're gonna make a social credit score for you, and we're just gonna give you minus 9,000 social credit score. You get to sit at home and do nothing. And once again, I need to reiterate, for those that are leaning towards, in the case of the social media ban, leaning towards protection of children, or leaning towards convenience, or leaning towards cheaper fuel costs or whatever, which I don't believe is the case. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're trying to sell us this, and then they're just going to ramp it up in the future. But for anyone that thinks either of those things, I'm telling you right now, especially after COVID, you've got to be critical of these things. You've got to be cautious of these things. Social media banning is already happening in places like the UK and Australia. I keep bringing them up because they are happening constantly there. In the UK, more people are being arrested for having the wrong opinion online, for saying something offensive online, than those that actually commit abuse against kids. And you know exactly the kind I'm talking about. They're currently protesting over that sort of stuff right now. In both of these cases, these things that are being proposed are purely going to be used to control people. Not for safety of children, that's never the case. You're not going to use it to just keep track of where you are on the road and try and give you a cheaper cost than the fuel tax you pay at the pump. No. This is going to be utilised, whether it's by the current national government or a future Labour government, which they've already shown they're more than happy to clamp down on people's rights and blatantly ignore them. We haven't forgotten about COVID, and one of the big four that needs to be punished from COVID, Chris Hipkins, is still in charge of Labour. And I have no doubt others in government would be more than happy to abuse these things as well and just start telling people what they can and can't do and jailing them for wrong opinions or jailing them because they drove too far. No doubt because they'll claim, oh, you're affecting the environment, the environment, you know, you're not allowed to drive anymore because the environment. This needs to be pushed back against at every turn, and it needs to be repealed. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I got the point across. These things need to be pushed back at every point because regardless of whether or not they are going to be utilised under the current scope that they are sold as, it'll be far too easy for current and future governments to just abuse these laws and start clamping down on people's rights. And once again, as I mentioned during COVID, they did that. Thank you guys for watching. I apologise I haven't posted on this channel at all. As you can see, the last couple of videos, I'm still struggling at getting this commentary thing down, and every single time I come up with a topic, I find myself struggling to properly articulate myself and to get the point across, and in a way at least that I'm happy with. The house video is still in the works. I wanted to be able to sit down and talk about saving and find a way to talk about that, how I saved for my house. The problem is when every single time I've gone back and looked at that video, I've sat there and gone, this doesn't feel right, something feels like it's missing. I feel like I'm giving advice that just doesn't apply. Especially in this world where house prices are soaring whilst wages are seemingly stagnant. Anyway, game, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.